Next question. Suppose the lead architect in your company has asked your team to implement a PaaS-based solution in Azure for a quick proof of concept to senior management. One of your colleagues goes ahead and creates an Azure SQL database and an Azure load balancer. Would you agree with this implementation? Option A, no. Option B, yes. And the correct answer is option A, no. Explanation. Tricky question. Platform as a service is a complete development and deployment environment in the cloud. PaaS includes infrastructure as servers, storage, and networking, but also middleware, development tools, business intelligence services, database management systems, and more. Azure SQL databases are PaaS, that's fine, but Azure load balancers are IaaS, not PaaS. Next question. In order to move a VM from one subscription to another, it must first be stopped. Option A, no. Option B, yes. And the correct answer is option A, no. Explanation. From the official documentation, virtual machines are resources and can be moved to a new subscription. Moving between subscriptions can be handy if you originally created a VM in a personal subscription and now want to move it to your company's subscription to continue your work. You do not need to stop the VM in order to move it, and it should continue to run during the move. Next question. Is it possible to run a PowerShell module directly from a Windows computer with Azure PowerShell installed? Option A, yes. Option B, no. And the correct answer is option A, yes. Explanation. A PowerShell script can create Azure resources, and since the PowerShell module is installed on the Windows computer, this is easily doable. Next question. Which of the following statements best describes the modern lifecycle policy for Azure products and services? Option A. For products governed by the modern lifecycle policy, Microsoft will provide a minimum of 12 months notification prior to ending support if no successor product or service is offered, excluding free services or preview releases. Option B. For products and services governed by the modern lifecycle policy, unless otherwise noted, Microsoft's policy is to provide a minimum 90 days notification when customers are required to take action in order to avoid significant degradation to the normal use of the products or service. Option C. For products and services governed by the modern lifecycle policy, unless otherwise noted, Microsoft's policy is to provide a minimum 120 days notification when customers are required to take action in order to avoid significant degradation to the normal use of the product or service. Option D. For products governed by the modern lifecycle policy, Microsoft will provide a minimum of 6 months notification prior to ending support if no successor product or service is offered, excluding free services or preview releases. And the correct answer is option A. For products governed by the modern lifecycle policy, Microsoft will provide a minimum of 12 months notification prior to ending support if no successor product or service is offered, excluding free services or preview releases. Explanation. The modern lifecycle policy covers products and services that are serviced and supported continuously. Under this policy, the product or service remains in support if the following criteria are met. Customers must stay current as per the servicing and system requirements published for the product or service. Customers must be licensed to use the product or service. Microsoft must currently offer support for the product or service, hence only the statement. For products governed by the modern lifecycle policy, Microsoft will provide a minimum of 12 months notification prior to ending support if no successor product or service is offered, excluding free services or preview releases, is correct. Next question. Azure Active Directory can restrict access attempts to only those coming from known devices. Option A, false. Option B, true. And the correct answer is option B, true. Explanation. From the official Azure documentation, Azure AD provides services such as Authentication. This includes verifying identity to access applications and resources. It also includes providing functionality such as self-service password reset, multi-factor authentication, a custom list of banned passwords, and smart lockout services. Single sign-on. SSO enables you to remember only one username and one password to access multiple applications. A single identity is tier to a user, which simplifies the security model. As users change roles or leave an organization, access modifications are tied to that identity, which greatly reduces the effort needed to change or disable accounts. Application management. You can manage your cloud and on-premises apps by using Azure AD. Features like application proxy, SaaS apps, the My Apps portal, also called the Access Panel, and single sign-on provide a better user experience. Device management. Along with accounts for individual people, Azure AD supports the registration of devices. Registration enables devices to be managed through tools like Microsoft Intune. It also allows for device-based conditional access policies to restrict access attempts to only those coming from known devices, regardless of the requesting user account. Next question. Each Azure subscription can trust multiple Active Directories. Option A, false. Option B, true. And the correct answer is option A, false. Explanation. From the official Azure docs, an Azure subscription has a trust relationship with Azure Active Directory. A subscription trusts Azure AD to authenticate users, services, and devices. Multiple subscriptions can trust the same Azure AD directory. Each subscription can only trust a single directory. Next question. Australia is composed of one single Azure region. Option A, no. Option B, yes. And the correct answer is option A, no. Explanation. No, Australia has several Azure regions, including Australia East, Central, Southeast, etc. Next question. An Azure subscription can trust multiple Azure Active Directory tenants. Option A, no. Option B, yes. And the correct answer is option A, no. Explanation. From the official Azure docs, an Azure subscription has a trust relationship with Azure Active Directory. A subscription trusts Azure AD to authenticate users, services, and devices. Please note, multiple subscriptions can trust the same Azure AD directory. Each subscription can only trust a single directory. Next question. You have managed an app that you developed and deployed on-prem for a long time, but would now like to move it to Azure and be relieved of all the manual administration and maintenance. Which of the following buckets would be most suitable for your use case? Option A, Software as a Service. Option B, Database as a Service. Option C, Platform as a Service. Option D, Infrastructure as a Service. And the correct answer is option C, Platform as a Service. Explanation. Platform as a Service is a complete development and deployment environment in the cloud with resources that enable you to deliver everything from simple cloud-based apps to sophisticated cloud-enabled enterprise applications. You purchase the resources you need from a cloud service provider on a pay-as-you-go basis and access them over a secure internet connection. Like IaaS, PaaS includes infrastructure, servers, storage, and networking, but also middleware, development tools, business intelligence services, database management systems, and more. PaaS is designed to support the complete web application lifecycle, building, testing, deploying, managing, and updating. PaaS allows you to avoid the expense and complexity of buying and managing software licenses, the underlying application infrastructure and middleware, container orchestrators such as Kubernetes, or the development tools and other resources. You manage the applications and services you develop, and the cloud service provider typically manages everything else. Since we need to reduce the overhead effort of managing everything, and create our own solution. PaaS is the best option. Next question. Which of the following services is an Apache Spark based analytics platform optimized for the Microsoft Azure Cloud Services platform? Option A, Azure Cognitive Services. Option B, Azure Bot Services. Option C, Azure Machine Learning Studio. Option D, Azure Databricks. And the correct answer is option D, Azure Databricks. Explanation. Please read this answer carefully. Optimized is the keyword in the question. A lot of people get confused between Azure Databricks and Azure HD Insight. Azure HD Insight is primarily a managed Apache Hadoop service that lets you run Apache Spark, Apache Hive, Apache Kafka, Apache HBase, and more in the cloud. Azure Databricks is a premium Spark offering that is ideal for customers who want their data scientists to collaborate easily and run their Spark-based workloads efficiently and at industry-leading performance. It is essentially an Apache Spark-based analytics platform optimized for the Microsoft Azure Cloud Services platform. Next question. Is there a default spending limit for the Azure free account? Option A, no. Option B, yes. And the correct answer is option B, yes. Explanation. A credit of $200 is assigned to the free account and is valid for 30 days from the date of activation. Next question. A startup has deployed a set of virtual machines which are critical for their day-to-day operations. They need to ensure their availability, even if a single data center goes down. One of their interns has suggested that deploying these VMS to multiple resource groups would solve the problem. Do you agree? Option A, yes. Option B, no. And the correct answer is option B, no. Explanation. A resource group is a logical container for Azure resources. When you create a resource group, you specify which location to create the resource group in. However, when you create a virtual machine and place it in the resource group, the virtual machine can still be in a different location, different data center. Therefore, creating multiple resource groups, even if they are in separate data centers, does not ensure that the services running on the virtual machines are available if a single data center fails. What you really need is high availability and deploying the VM to multiple regions and AZs. Next question. Where you can obtain up-to-date details about the personal data Microsoft processes, how it processes it and for what purposes. Option A, Azure Trust Center. Option B, Compliance Manager. Option C, Microsoft Privacy Statement. Option D, Azure Knowledge Center. And the correct answer is option C, Microsoft Privacy Statement. Explanation. This privacy statement explains the personal data Microsoft processes, how Microsoft processes it, and for what purposes. Microsoft offers a wide range of products, including server products used to help operate enterprises worldwide, devices you use in your home, software that students use at school, and services developers use to create and host what's next. References to Microsoft products in this statement include Microsoft services, websites, apps, software, servers, and devices. Please read the product-specific details in this privacy statement, which provide additional relevant information. This statement applies to the interactions Microsoft has with you and the Microsoft products listed below, as well as other Microsoft products that display this statement. Next question. An organization is planning to migrate large amounts of data from their on-prem storage to Azure. However, they are worried of incurring huge costs for this transfer and have halted their plans for now. Is this assumption valid? Option A, yes. Option B, no. And the correct answer is option B, no. Explanation. Data ingress incoming to Azure Data Center is free. So, the organization's assumptions are invalid. Next question. Fill in the blanks. Dash enables a user to log in one time and use that credential to access multiple resources and applications from different providers. Option A. Passwordless. Option B. Multi-factor authentication. Option C. Domain name service. Option D. Single sign-on. And the correct answer is option D. Single sign-on. Explanation. From the official Azure documentation. SSO enables you to remember only one username and one password to access multiple applications. A single identity is tied to a user, which simplifies the security model. As users change roles or leave an organization, access modifications are tied to that identity, which greatly reduces the effort needed to change or disable accounts. Thank you for watching this video. Buy our AZ 900 premium questions with 50% off. Check link in the description.